The most disciplined people in the world do something that looks incredibly lazy. They stop. Not because they're tired, not because they're unmotivated, because they've discovered something most people never realize. Doing more isn't always the answer. In fact, sometimes doing more is exactly what keeps you stuck. Right now, millions of people are trying to become more productive. They're waking up earlier, working harder, optimizing everything, and yet they feel more distracted, more overwhelmed, and more exhausted than ever before. Why? Because they're solving the wrong problem. Most people think discipline is the ability to force yourself to do something. But what if the highest form of discipline is the ability to do nothing? Because in a world addicted to noise, stimulation, and constant activity, doing nothing has become one of the hardest things a person can do. Look around. The second people feel bored, they reach for their phone. The second silence appears, they fill it. The second they're alone with their thoughts, they escape. And that's where the real problem begins, because boredom was never the enemy. Silence was never empty. Doing nothing was never a waste of time. The truth is, some of your best thinking happens when nothing seems to be happening at all, and that's exactly what modern life is taking away. But if doing nothing is so powerful, why does it feel so uncomfortable? Think about the last time you stood in a line, or sat in a waiting room, or waited for someone to arrive. What happened? You probably reached for your phone, not because you needed it, because your brain has been trained to expect stimulation. Every spare second gets filled. Every empty moment gets occupied. Every pause gets eliminated. And over time, something strange happens. Your brain forgets how to be still. Now silence feels uncomfortable. Boredom feels painful. And doing nothing feels impossible. But here's the twist. That discomfort isn't proof that you're doing something wrong. It's proof that you're finally noticing what has been there all along. The noise, the constant stimulation, the endless consumption. For years, you've been feeding your brain information every waking moment. And now, the moment that information disappears, your mind starts looking for it. That's why people say they're resting while scrolling. They're not resting, they're consuming. There's a difference, and that difference changes everything. Because the mind doesn't grow stronger only through activity. It grows stronger through recovery, just like muscles. And this leads to a question almost nobody asks. What happens when you finally stop? Imagine two people. The first person spends every free moment consuming. Videos, posts, messages, entertainment. The second person intentionally creates space. Space to think, space to reflect, space to be bored. At first, they look exactly the same, but give it a year, the difference becomes obvious. One person reacts to life. The other person understands it. One person constantly follows distractions. The other notices opportunities. One person fills every gap with noise. The other uses those gaps to think. And thinking has become rare, dangerously rare. Because the modern world rewards attention capture, but real growth requires attention control. That's why some of the most effective people deliberately schedule walks, silence, reflection, moments where absolutely nothing appears to happen, because they understand a secret. When you're constantly consuming, your brain is busy reacting. When you're still, your brain starts connecting. Ideas connect, problems untangle, priorities become clear. And suddenly, the thing that looked lazy from the outside turns out to be one of the most productive things you can do. But here's where this gets even more interesting. Doing nothing isn't actually about productivity. It's about something much deeper, something that determines the direction of your entire life. Because when the noise finally disappears, you're left with one thing, yourself. And most people have no idea what happens next. Because the moment the noise disappears, something else appears. You. Not the version of you that exists online. Not the version of you that performs for other people. Not the version of you distracted by constant stimulation. The real you. The one that's been waiting underneath all the noise. And that's exactly why stillness feels uncomfortable. People think they're afraid of boredom. They're not. People think they're afraid of silence. They're not. What many people are actually afraid of is facing themselves. Think about it. As long as you're distracted, you never have to ask difficult questions. Are you happy? Are you moving in the right direction? Are you becoming the person you want to become? Are you spending your time on things that matter? Those questions are easy to avoid when your attention is constantly occupied, and modern life gives us endless ways to avoid them. A new video, a new notification, a new post, a new distraction, a new escape. The problem isn't that these things exist. The problem is that many people never stop long enough to hear what their own mind is trying to tell them. And eventually, years pass. Not because life is short, because attention is scattered. Think about how quickly the last 5 years disappeared. Seriously, 5 years. For some people, it feels like yesterday. Why? Because the brain remembers change, it remembers novelty, it remembers meaningful experiences. But when every day becomes an endless cycle of consumption and distraction, everything starts blending together. Days become weeks, weeks become months, months become years. And before you know it, another year is gone. This is where doing nothing becomes powerful, not because it makes you productive, because it makes you aware. When you slow down, you notice things. You notice where your time is going. You notice what is draining your energy. You notice what matters. You notice what doesn't. And awareness changes everything because you cannot improve what you cannot see. Most people are trying to improve their lives without ever stepping back and observing them. It's like trying to navigate through a forest while staring directly at your feet. You might keep moving, but you have no idea where you're going. Stillness allows you to look up, to see the bigger picture, to reconnect with direction. And direction is far more important than speed, because moving quickly in the wrong direction only gets you lost faster. That's one of the biggest misunderstandings about discipline. People think discipline is about speed. It's not. Discipline is about direction. A distracted person can work hard for years and end up nowhere. A focused person can make fewer moves and achieve more. That's why doing nothing isn't laziness. It's calibration. It's stepping back so you can move forward intelligently. But here's the twist. Most people never reach this stage because they quit during the hardest part, the beginning, the moment they try to sit in silence, the moment they try to be still, the moment they remove the stimulation. Suddenly their mind becomes loud, really loud. Random thoughts, old memories, anxiety, regrets, worries, future problems, past mistakes. Everything starts surfacing. And many people assume something is wrong, but nothing is wrong. In fact, this is exactly what is supposed to happen. Because those thoughts were always there. The noise was simply covering them up. Imagine a lake. If the water is constantly disturbed, you can't see what's beneath the surface. But when the water becomes still, everything becomes visible. Your mind works the same way. Stillness doesn't create chaos. It reveals it. And once you can see it, you can finally do something about it. That's why some of the most powerful breakthroughs in life happen during quiet moments. Not because silence gives you answers, because silence allows you to hear them. Answers that were already there, waiting, buried beneath years of noise, which leads to a realization that completely changes how you view discipline. The goal isn't to fill every moment. The goal is to create enough space for clarity to emerge. Because clarity is a force multiplier. When you're clear, decisions become easier. When you're clear, distractions lose power. When you're clear, focus becomes natural. When you're clear, discipline requires less effort. And that's what most people never understand. The highest form of discipline isn't forcing yourself to do more. It's creating a mind that no longer needs constant force. A mind that knows where it's going. A mind that isn't pulled in every direction. A mind that can sit in silence without feeling the need to escape. And the people who develop that ability gain something incredibly rare, something that becomes more valuable every single year. Because while everyone else is fighting for attention, they're learning how to control it. And attention might be the most valuable resource on earth. More valuable than money. More valuable than talent. Because wherever your attention goes, your life follows. And once you understand that, you begin to realize why doing nothing is not a waste of time. It's training. Training for one of the most important skills of the modern world, the ability to remain in control of your own mind. But how do you actually develop that ability? And why are most people unknowingly making it harder every single day? That's where things become even more interesting. And why are most people unknowingly making it harder every single day? Because they're training the exact opposite skill. Every notification teaches your brain to switch attention. Every scroll teaches your brain to seek novelty. Every distraction teaches your brain to abandon focus. And at first, these tiny moments seem harmless. One notification, one quick check, one short video, one glance at your phone, nothing major. But that's the danger. The biggest changes in life rarely happen all at once. They happen gradually, quietly, almost invisibly. just like a ship that drifts 1 degree off course. For the first few miles, everything looks fine, but thousands of miles later, it ends up in a completely different place. Attention works the same way. Small distractions, repeated daily, for years, eventually become a completely different life. That's why attention isn't just another skill. It's the foundation underneath every skill. Want to learn faster? Attention. Want better relationships? Attention. Want deeper focus? Attention. Want to build something meaningful? Attention. Because whatever receives your attention grows, and whatever is ignored slowly disappears. Think about that. The quality of your life is largely determined by the quality of your attention. Yet most people give away their attention for free, every day, to strangers, to algorithms, to endless streams of content. Meanwhile, the most successful people are protecting theirs, guarding it, training it, strengthening it, not because they're smarter, because they understand its value. Now here's where the discipline of doing nothing becomes practical. Most people think stillness is something you either have or you don't. That's not true. It's a skill, and like every skill, it can be trained. The mistake people make is trying to start too big. 30 minutes of silence, 1 hour of meditation, a complete digital detox. Then they fail, then they quit, then they assume the skill isn't for them. But that's not how growth works. Imagine walking into a gym for the first time and trying to lift the heaviest weight in the building. It would be ridiculous. Yet that's exactly how many people approach mental training. The discipline of doing nothing starts small, very small. 5 minutes, that's it. 5 minutes where you sit, no phone, no music, no videos, no stimulation, just you and your thoughts. At first, it feels strange, then uncomfortable, then surprisingly difficult. You'll want to move, you'll want to check something, you'll want to escape. That's normal. Because for years, your brain has been conditioned to expect constant input. Now you're teaching it something new. You're teaching it that stillness is safe, that boredom isn't dangerous, that silence isn't empty. And remarkable begins to happen. Your mind settles, not immediately, not overnight, but gradually, like muddy water becoming clear. The thoughts are still there, but they no longer control you. You start noticing urges without obeying them. You start noticing distractions without chasing them. You start noticing impulses without acting on them. And that's real discipline, not forcing yourself through life, controlling your response to it, because discipline isn't about controlling the world around you. It's about controlling what happens inside you. And that's where most people lose the battle, not in the environment, inside their own minds. Every day they make promises, then break them, set goals, then abandon them, create plans, then get distracted. Not because they lack intelligence, because they lack attention. And attention is trainable. That's the good news. No matter how distracted you've become, no matter how scattered your focus feels, no matter how addicted to stimulation you think you are, you can improve. The brain adapts. It always has. The same brain that learned distraction can learn focus. The same mind that became restless can become calm. The same person who struggles with stillness today can master it tomorrow, but only if they're willing to practice. And here's the irony. The practice itself looks insignificant. 5 quiet minutes, a short walk without your phone, sitting alone with your thoughts, looking out a window, doing absolutely nothing. From the outside, it looks useless, unproductive, even lazy. But from the inside, something powerful is happening. You're reclaiming ownership of your attention. You're strengthening your ability to focus. You're building resistance against distraction. You're becoming harder to manipulate, harder to control, harder to pull away from what matters. And in a world designed to steal attention, that becomes a superpower. Think about the future. Artificial intelligence will become more powerful, algorithms will become smarter, content will become more addictive, notifications will become more personalized, everything competing for your attention will become better at winning it. The average person will become increasingly distracted, which means the ability to focus will become increasingly valuable. The ability to think deeply, to sit with difficult problems, to resist constant stimulation, to direct your attention deliberately. Those abilities will become rare, and rare skills create extraordinary opportunities. That's why the discipline of doing nothing is not about escaping life. It's about preparing for it. It's not about avoiding work. It's about improving the quality of work. It's not about becoming less ambitious. It's about becoming more intentional. Because when your attention is no longer scattered, everything changes. You think more clearly. You learn more effectively. You make better decisions. You become more present. You stop living on autopilot. And perhaps most importantly, you start noticing your life again. The moments, the conversations, the opportunities, the beauty that constant distraction was causing you to miss. and one day you'll realize something. The goal was never to do nothing forever. The goal was to become the kind of person who can, because a person who can sit alone with their thoughts, a person who can resist endless stimulation, a person who controls their attention instead of surrendering it, has something incredibly powerful. Freedom, real freedom. The freedom to choose where your mind goes, the freedom to choose what deserves your attention, the freedom to choose the direction of your life. And that may be the highest form of discipline there is. So the next time you feel the urge to fill every empty moment, pause. The next time boredom appears, don't run. The next time silence arrives, stay with it. Because on the other side of that discomfort is something most people never experience. Clarity, focus, control, and a version of yourself that has been waiting underneath the noise all along. The discipline of doing nothing isn't about becoming less. It's about finally becoming more.